Raising more money with artificial intelligence. Hi, I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz, and this is the first day from the fundraising school. I'm joined today by Travis Tester. He is the Chief Development and Communications Officer for Foster Success, a nonprofit located in Central Indiana. And Travis, thanks so much for being with us on the Fundraising Schools podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So as we get started, I want to provide some context as we dive into this emerging topic around how can we actually use artificial intelligence to increase our fundraising. Not just a conversation of what is it, but actual techniques. And I know you have several to share with our audience today. But by context, tell us about Foster Success. What does your organization do? How large are you? How big is your development team?
Yeah. So Foster Success is centrally located in Indianapolis. However, we actually work statewide. So we support teens and young adults who are transitioning out of the foster care system. So we're really focusing on that population of 14 to 26-year-olds. And then we work and support them in 5 different impact areas, which is in educational success, financial empowerment, health and well-being, workforce readiness, and youth engagement. So our organization, I started with the organization about 3.5 years ago. And we were at 9 staff members. By the end of this year, we will be about 26, 27 staff members. So we've seen an exponential growth, but I would still identify us as a pretty moderate size nonprofit. And from a staffing standpoint on development, I was the first chief development officer at this organization. And we were able to hire a second person, an assistant director of development, a year ago. So right now I'm a team of 2 on the development side.
So 26 employees, 2 of them devoted to fundraising. How big is the annual budget at Foster Success?
We're about a $5 million budget.
All right, $5 million budget. And do you and your colleague need to raise all of that? Is there, some government money? Are you, have some earned income, or is it all philanthropic fundraising?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I like to say that everything is philanthropic, right? Even in government funding, because you're still cultivating those relationships. But we are about a little less than 80% in government contracts. And then we obviously have foundations and grants, corporate partners, and individual donors. We also do have an endowment as well.
So you're raising, outside of the government resources, point well taken, about $1 million a year or so from individuals, foundations, and corporations, and wonderfully have some endowment revenue as well. And I raise this to say, first of all, pausing, thank you for the work that you and your colleagues are doing. This is such an important area that in even the best foster care situations, our teens who become young adults transitioning into adulthood face extra barriers and challenges, and your nonprofit is stepping in to help them navigate with that and serve alongside them. So thank you for that. And I also just wanted our audience to understand, I think with AI, Travis, it can be this thing of, it must be Indiana University with a big army of fundraisers and the big hospital system, with all of the resources are the only ones who can capitalize on artificial intelligence. But again, you're kind of a very typical nonprofit in the span of the U.S. nonprofit sector, and you have advanced in big ways developing techniques using artificial intelligence and fundraising. Kind of another sort of preamble question, like, what led you into your interest in this? Are you the guy who took apart the radio back in the day to figure out how it worked, and you like to tinker with things? And what exposed you to this topic that has led you into this area of expertise?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I hadn't really thought about it until I was kind of anticipating us chatting today. But I have always been an advocate for change. Change is inevitable. Change is needed. And specifically in nonprofit work, if we're not changing and evolving continuously, we're going to be left behind. The organization's left behind, and we're doing a disservice to those that we support, to our donors, our partners, and to ourselves. So I am always thinking, how can we make things more efficient, more effective? And I'm I live by the rule of let's work smarter, not harder. Like why do that? Why create something when something's already created when we can just fine tune it and make it our own? And AI, that lends itself to AI. AI is that type of tool. And so I got really excited as AI started to come out more and more.
And no doubt. I mean, when you look throughout human history, technology is always advancing. It allows us to do more in a shorter amount of time. It often allows us to do more with fewer people, whether that be agriculture, whether that be manufacturing, whether that be communications. You go right down the line. And, I remember, I want to say it was about 20 years ago, and I was sitting in a session hosted by the fundraising school before I worked here. And the question was, what about this Facebook? And fundraising on Facebook. What do I do? And now, Travis, we almost don't even talk about Facebook anymore, which really shows the rapid technological advances, including with AI.
Exactly. I mean, you even think about, these GoFundMe initiative, right? Like that wasn't that long ago. And when this started, that was the uproar for those of us in the philanthropic field of like, is this going to up shovel like everything that we've done to create this kind of culture of philanthropy and what have you. And that still could be argued some days. But I think it actually has enhanced it. And quite frankly, I think it's taught people what philanthropic things can happen when you support other people. So I actually can see it as a positive. But you're absolutely right. Like this is an ever evolving world of technology, and AI is really just getting started.
Absolutely. And you are getting started on developing specific techniques, some that have been embedded into some of the softwares in your donor relationship management software, other applications you've gone out and purchased, and some that you've been able to utilize for free. We had a chance to hear Travis at a wonderful conference hosted by our good friends at Johnson Gross-Nichol Associates, nationally acclaimed fundraising consulting firm. And they were talking about AI and fundraising. And Travis just stole the show with his practical, technical techniques that he and Foster Success are using. So, Travis, give us some examples. How are you using AI to raise more money?
Absolutely. Well, you're kind to say that. But, I want to go back to one thing that you said, because I think your audience needs to understand this. When we think of AI, a lot of times people do think about like an IU with this army of professionals and like, oh, they have all the resources in the world. Well, I've worked at those universities. I can tell you that if you work for a nonprofit, a small, moderate, or even large nonprofit, you have more opportunity to engage AI than colleagues at universities in a lot of ways, because I am able to take more risk than those in a university sometimes. And I know what that chuckle means. So I think that that's something that we all have to just remember, that AI, yes, it's just like when Facebook came out, it was a risk to sign up for it because we didn't know anything. AI can be a risk, but because there's so many tools out there that are free, what do you have to lose? And so that's the piece that people have to remember. There are so many tools out there that are free that gives you enough support. So one of the things that I use, and I'm going to start with this one because I will almost bet you every person that listens to this has either used it or they know about it, and that's Canva. Canva is the product that so many are using to create images for their development proposals, or if they're in their marketing, communication, social media. Canva now has a built-in tool called Canva Write. And you literally put in parameters and it will basically create a text for you to put in social media. And so it's built in right there and it's free. So again, you utilize that. A lot of times people are using AI and they don't know that you're using AI. For all of you out there who use Grammarly, even the free version in your email that just makes sure that you're phrasing your sentences well, guess what? You're using AI. And so I think that's what we have to remember. They're already happening. So embrace it and lean into it a little bit. And I'm all about, so I'm a researcher. I love to research. I like my Excel sheets. But you don't have to do that. Like, take some of the things I'm saying and just go Google them and look at it. So another really cool thing that's happening, if you have Salesforce, so that's the CRM that we utilize. Salesforce has a tool called Einstein. It's free. You just connect it. Literally, you turn a button on. And what that does is when I'm emailing with one of my donors, it is capturing every single email that I have with that donor and placing it on that donor's record. So at any point, my CEO, my assistant director of development, before they go meet with somebody, or if they're going to an event, they're like, oh, I know that Sally is going to be here. And I know that Travis talks to her a lot. They can go in and read interactions and know exactly what's happening. So it's so easy to do, and it's free, and it does it for you. You literally do nothing. And we all know, those of us who are frontline fundraisers, contact reports can be the bane of our existence. And this can serve as a sort of contact report in a lot of ways. And so I think that there's things like that that are so crucial that are just, it's easy.
All right, I want to ask you to share the story. This is all fantastic. And by the way, yes, higher ed has a lot of advantages, but anything I chuckle about can and will be used against me. So we'll just leave it at the chuckle. But your point about you having flexibility and being able to innovate and explore is a great reminder to all of us, to the best we can, to just dive in. You're not going to break AI. So just go in and play with it, try it, find the free things. If you have to subscribe, then if you can, try to work those into your budget. But you told a remarkable story about how you are using AI to summarize those donor contact lists and then take that summary and match it up with the programs and services and impact of Foster Success to tailor make meeting preparations for that particular donor or a fundraising letter to that particular donor. Now, I know I've just covered it at the surface level. Can you give us the details on how you're using AI in that way?
Absolutely. So let's start with the thank you letters first. So the thank you letters, we use a program called Nintex. It's also embedded into Salesforce. And essentially what happens is when we have donations that come in, either check or online, it goes through the system, and then Nintex actually identifies the type of donation that it is. So we go in, we say, run the letters, and then all of the thank you letters. And we have, I think, 7 or 8 different segmented letters. So it could be a memorial gift. It could be a major gift. It could be a first-time donor gift, and they get a very specific letter. So we literally push a button, it runs the letters, and then we print them on letterhead, and then I handwrite on them. You also have the ability with Nintex to email letters, and that'll be our next step, is that we are going to actually allow donors to tell us if they want email or mailed communications. And so we'll start emailing thank you letters if they want those. So very simple. The only setup that you really have to do is get Nintex into Salesforce, but then you just upload the letters. So, and we change our letters quarterly so that they're fresh, and we're able to use new stories. And so it's amazing. We are also very fortunate that we are migrating over to the new MPC for Salesforce. So the nonprofit cloud. And with the new MPC, it's another kind of version of Einstein. But essentially what it's going to do, allows me to take all of the information that is specific to my donors. And if I want to create a proposal, it's going to merge all of that information just by a few clicks of a button, and it's going to create a proposal for me. There's no more the day that I'm going to have to go in and edit a proposal and change something very specific. It's going to be a few clicks of a button, and you can do this for corporate partners. You could do this for individual donors. Like, the options are endless. And so we're going to start using that. here in the next couple of weeks, because we're in the midst of migrating right now.
And then what about the summarizing of the donor meetings and matching that up with the programs and services? So, Bill, I had my meetings with him. I don't have to read all those notes. AI summarized it for me and then connected me to the programs and services and outcomes that Bill might be most interested in. What is going on with that?
Yeah, this is one of the best things I do, I'll be honest, because I use Otter AI. That's what it is, Otter.ai. It is free. You can obviously increase your, ability to do things by paying. I still use the free version. I've been using it for over a year now. I use this on all of my meetings. I was just on a Zoom meeting yesterday with a donor. I always ask permission. Hey, I'm going to record this and I'm going to have something that will basically summarize my meeting for me and take notes. And as long as they're okay with it, great. I turn it on. As soon as we were done, it summarized all my notes for me and sent it to me. And then I'm able to go in and then basically take that, put it in a contact report. And I'm also able to then say and specify on their record, hey, they're really interested in education or our basic needs program. And then it's circular, right? Like now when I go to my marketing and comms team and say, hey, I want to segment a stewardship email specifically for those who are in line with our basic needs program, it will now pull that person in. So, wow. And you can use it on your phone. If I'm at a Starbucks, I turn it on and it takes my notes for me. So it's such a great tool that allows us, we talk about this all the time in fundraising. We want to be more intentional. We want to be present with our donors. Well, this actually gives us the opportunity to do that.
I wanted to expand upon that. If you could estimate, maybe on a percentage basis, how much time this is added for you to spend more in-person time with your donors. And in-person might also mean a phone call, might also mean an email exchange.
Absolutely.
But including the face-to-face. Can you estimate how much time this is adding for you to communicate directly with your donors?
Oh, gosh, that's such a good question. I think if I were looking at a week's time, and let's say it's one of my busier weeks with donor meetings, I'm saving a minimum of 15 hours. It has to be, because you think about it, right? Like you are either taking notes while you're with the donor, or like I do, I will jot a couple things down, but then I go back after the meeting, take notes, then transfer them to a contact report, and then do more from there. In this regard, it literally is doing it for me. I can upload it as a document or just copy and paste it, and it's done.
So I would invite folks in our audience, think about that. 15 hours a week. That's 2 full-time days if we really did work 8-hour days only. But, let's just say 2 full-time days. How many donor meetings can somebody have in 2 full-time days? That's how much time, as of now, AI is adding to Travis's calendar in a week.
Absolutely.
To be able to spend more time with donors. Travis, how much of this is self-taught? How much formal training have you needed?
Well, I don't know what we want to define as formal training. Formal training for me is that I've sat in on webinars. There is a really great website that people should go to. It's called charityexcellence.co.uk. Charity Excellence is a phenomenal organization. They have tons of free AI tools, but they also have free YouTube webinars. And it talks about AI tools for nonprofits, how to use them, what to do with them. So I will go and do that. And then sometimes I'll come across things. So for example, I came across something called InVideo AI. It converts text to videos. And I was like, because sometimes when we work with older foster youth, we can't put photos of our young people on things. So I was like, I wonder what I can do with some text that a young person gave us a quote. What type of video could it create? Well, InVideo AI will convert text and then create some type of video that supports that text. And it's free. The free version gives you 10 minutes a week. Well, if I'm only wanting to create 3 2-minute videos, well, guess what? There it is. And the next version is only $5 a month.
And that would seem a good discussion to have as we lead up at budget time to our chief development officer, our CEO, our board, when we hear how we're maximizing our time for fundraising success. And again, some of these are free. Some of these do have a cost associated with them. Mm-hmm. Some of these, Travis is self-taught. He just kind of goes in and plays with it. Others, there's formal training like these webinars. He mentioned the website charityexcellence.co.uk. And I would want to mention that at the Fundraising School, we have a 3-hour online course on AI and fundraising that is evolving all the time. And so the technical assistance is out there. But, Travis, I guess I would conclude, too, on a point you raised earlier, that some of these things we're going to find on our own. And you've mentioned so many good resources. But what's happening more and more, in case people are saying like, wow, I'm not able to learn all these newest things, on how AI is being embedded into the things we use every day. I loved how you mentioned, Grammarly, for example, or, the old one now is if I go on my phone and get a map and, it tells me where I'm going to go. That's AI. So We're seeing it's a both and. I don't have to know it all, and more things are being embedded.
Absolutely. And, I myself, because I'm so intrigued by this, I myself am going to go to the AI class at the Fundraising School because I want more sophisticated formal training, because this is the new age, folks, and development and nonprofits are going to have to jump on this or we'll be left behind. So we might as well be part of the forefront in figuring it out.
Travis Tester, Chief Development and Communication Officer for Foster Success, who is putting artificial intelligence to work for him and his colleagues to raise more money, especially by being able to spend more time with donors. And again, AI and fundraising is one of our 24 public courses that we teach. We now have 5 certificates available. Most of our courses are available in person. Some of them, like AI and fundraising, only online. And we do that on purpose because it is a digital topic. And we are in 10 U.S. cities now with our courses. We also have custom training on this and any other topic or several topics that we can knit together, tailored just for your nonprofit, your association, your county, whatever the case might be. We train in the United States and anywhere across the world. We have quarterly webinars. We have these weekly podcasts, and our knowledge is gathered in our textbook, Achieving Excellence in Fundraising, now in its 5th edition. All of this information available online at the website go.iu.edu/TFRS for the Fundraising School. Travis, thanks so much for enlightening our audience with these practical tools and strategies on AI and fundraising.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
And our podcast today is produced by the Emmy Award winner, Mike Anthony, and by my colleague, Jennifer Boffman, CFRM. I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz. Now you are now more fully informed on this first day from the Fundraising School.